They're really good. Trust, allow, accept, let go, and glow. That's really the theme of reclaiming our bliss. Hey, hi, thanks, glad you hopped on. Good to see you. So I'll stop this for a little bit, or maybe we just want to read this Rupi Kaur quote some more. It was when I stopped searching for home within others and lifted the foundations of home within myself, I found there were no roots more intimate than those between a mind and a body that have decided to be whole. Stop this for now. It is so good to see you. Thank you for hopping on with me live today. Many also have wanted the recording, so this will be great to have this. It's so perfect timing to talk about reclaiming your bliss. It's December, and it's like when bliss goes out the door, if we even had any, right? So I love how this just kind of aligned with my schedule and just happened to be in December. So good to talk about it all. And I'm like, imagine having a magic toolbox for now, for December, but for all year long. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about in how do we get this back? You know, if I've lost my bliss, I've lost my balance. What does that look like? What does that mean? And I'm just excited to share with you what's really become an amalgamation of my 30 years of teaching yoga, of teaching, training yoga teachers, teaching meditation, running a business, mother, all of that, right? All of that has come together to this point in my life, being 64, where I feel like I've got some tools more to share, and they're tried and true. They've really worked for me and for others. So happy to share a little bit today. For those of you that haven't met me before, I have been teaching yoga for over 30 years, training teachers, meditation, teaching meditation, and again, ran a studio and so on. So my name's Catherine Austin Woolley, for those of you that are new today. So what came out of this amalgamation of what I was just talking about is my coaching program called Commit to Bliss. And I'm telling you, this came right in a meditation. Commit to Bliss, the name even. Because what's the hardest thing for us to do is to commit to it. Because we've always got an excuse like, oh, no, I'm too busy right now. Nope, can't do that. And then we just like, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Now is the time, whatever we are in our life. So it's a wellness coaching program, but let me tell you, it's really steeped in self-care and self-love. And we get there by many, many tools and transformations along the way. And so today I'm going to share with you kind of some of the steps that we want to look at if we're going to reclaim any bliss back in our life and take it back, or take back our power. Sherry's joining us today, and she's going to speak later on because she is just about to graduate on Saturday from the 90 days Commit to Bliss. And I know she's going to say 90 days. Oh my God, I can't do this, right? But she'll tell you her story and how, yeah, she's definitely done it. The hardest thing that, what came to me was what I always saw with students that I would teach over the years is I would teach them yoga, I'd teach them to meditate, and the hardest thing is to sustain it, right? And we'd fall off the wagon. And that's common. And I always say it's actually kind of good to fall off the wagon because then you know how much it was helping you. You can feel the difference, right? But it's about getting back on the wagon of all this self-love and self-care. And there's many ways to do that, not just yoga and meditation, but we'll talk about that a little more. So when I'm here, like available in your corner to be your coach and your cheerleader and hold you a little accountable, like you do when you went to the yoga class, right? It really helps that, you know, you got to show up, you've done the work, or you're, you know, somebody's checking in on you. This is a really good path to your wellness program, is to have somebody to check in with regularly. It's great to take a 1 hour yoga class and then leave, but how much do you take that with you? How long do you sustain it until maybe you come back again? And it's also good with like we've done a group coaching program, that we had a group and a community that we kind of checked in with every day, that there's someone else out there doing this along with me. Just like why you came to the yoga studio, right? You need a community. So that's what keeps us accountable. And for a specific period of time, to create new habits, to really decide, okay, I'm going to make this change to reclaim my bliss and stick with it. And how do we do that? So today I want to talk about like identifying first our imbalances. I am sure you could write down a laundry list of your imbalances, and they're historical. They can be physical, mental, and spiritual. Emotional imbalances. We're talking about a lot of different layers of us. And then we want to talk about in part 2, okay, how do I start to shift some of those? And as I always tell my students, it's a marathon, it's not a race. Anything we try to do overnight real quick never works, right? So we want to talk about how to do that in baby steps. And then part 3 today, we're going to talk about prioritizing self-care. Now that's a real kind of new age term that started coming out 10 to 20 years ago, but such a good one. But what is self-care? It's kind of nebulous. It's not just going for a massage. It is vast, and there's many ways that we start to look at our life. Is this self-care for me? And we'll talk about that. And then at the end, Sherry's going to share a little bit about her journey, which is so cool. I can't wait to hear about hers. And at the end, write down any questions you have while we're chit-chatting today. And if you have any at the end, we'll do some Q&A. Okay. All right. All right, so let's step into step 1, identifying imbalances. I've got a little list I'm going to read to you. I am sure you have plenty more. But what comes to me a lot, and with people I work with, typical signs of mind-body imbalances. Let's just start with exhausted, a very unregulated nervous system, insomnia, big one. How about slow digestion, weight gain, anxiety, irritable, like everything just pisses you off. Then we can talk about inflammation in the body, but also in the mind. We call that pitta. The fire is like roaring. That's the irritability. Unhappy, unmotivated. I hate even saying all these words because the vibration is so bad about them, but we're going to shift them. Workaholic. That's a real common imbalance, and we don't see it as an imbalance. We're trying to fill tons of empty time. Another imbalance that I see a lot with people is controlling, getting really controlling. People, places, things, everything in their life. So another imbalance is no self-care is happening whatsoever. No self-love, really critical of ourselves and then others. So basically, you know, whatever you're vibrating and operating at in your software, your own software, you're going to project that onto everybody else. So if you're really not feeling the self-love and you're really self-critical, that's when you're really picking about everybody else apart. There's a saying called, you spot it, You got it. Think about that one. You spot it, you got it. Because you know it well, because you're doing it yourself. Okay, I'll leave you with that one. Hangry, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Halt. You're supposed to halt, H-A-L-T, if you're hangry. Another common imbalance that I see is isolating. And I mean, the list goes on and on. Easily thrown off by everything in life. Completely pissed off if somebody takes a parking spot you thought was yours. Okay, we got to slow down and start to take a look at what's really going on below the surface. You've got me now, right? And historical ones are the patterns that unfortunately come through generations. And when you start to wake up enough and see them in yourself, you're like, whoa, okay, I want to make a change here. I don't have to carry this on, even though my mother was like this or blah, blah, blah. Remember, historical ones. Okay, so let's look at some examples or relatable scenarios. So when a lot of that is going on, we might start spinning around and focusing on way too much what others are doing. Compare, despair. You ever heard of that? Compare. If you're always comparing yourself, you're going to despair. So we don't want to, we don't want to be focusing on what everybody else is doing or not doing. This is our journey, our special lifetime journey, and it's all about us, and it doesn't matter what other people are doing. Don't compare because you will despair. You could also be just really in a negative attitude all the time, victim mode. If you're not feeling right now in that kind of stuckness, you definitely know people that are, right? You have people in your life that are just in one lane, victim mode all the time or negative. And I really get sad or compassion for people like that because I know they're really hurting inside to be stuck there. Hurt people hurt. So when we start to want to reclaim our bliss and start to shift some of these patterns that we might see in ourselves that are really blocking our way of just thriving in life and feeling great and being able to ride the waves of life so much smoother and so much easier is getting that like pendulum. So if the pendulum is swinging way to the right or swinging way to the left, that's when you're like, oh, or oh. See what I'm saying? You can be like really manic over here or really depressed over here. And we don't want that pendulum swinging so much during daily life. We want it to be in the middle, the namaste. So everything isn't so an emergency or everything isn't so bad. And holding that namaste software, this newer software, comes from the self-care, comes from other practices that we can talk about as well. So that you're holding this bliss as your foundational software inside you, no matter what's going on around you. So you can be in the world, but not so of the world. Oh, or that I'm going to be dramatic. So think of that again, in the world, but not so of the world, not so completely affected by every single little thing going on. And that is maintaining your bliss. Internally, cosmic billionaire, internally. Because when a impoverished person, listen to this example, gets pickpocketed, it's devastating. They don't have any money left. Their bank account is empty. They just can't easily go get it. But a billionaire, his wallet gets stolen, no big deal. Back to the bank, get more money, can afford to buy a new wallet, back on with life. You can become the cosmic billionaire within. where we fill you back up with so much love and light. Let go of those old historical patternings that you've seen that are just sabotaging you all the time. So that when life pickpockets you, because it will pickpocket you every day. Can you maintain that cosmic billionaire within? Filling yourself up so full with fulfillment within, bliss, love, light. Yes. And then how do I top it off every day to keep it that way? Because tomorrow life will pickpocket me probably again. So I don't want it to go down too low. I want to keep a full tank. Is this making sense? Yeah. We give away way too much of our bliss. That's why we're calling this reclaim it back in. It is your birthright. It is your birthright. So when we do these more self-care practices, and I want to explain it like a piece of fabric, and we dip it in the dye in the old days, and then they would lay it in the sun. Do you remember they had to do that over and over again so that it would become color fast? The fabric would hold the dye. And by the way, I'm going to send you all this recording, so it'll still be here for you to re-listen to. So if you're dipping in the dye every day, little different ways of self-care or healing practices, you're going to be more saturated in that software of bliss. And you have to know how worthy you are to commit to those little pieces every day that keep that cosmic billionaire within, that dye, that saturation of bliss. And that's the key. So do you have your chat box ability to be open? I think you can just click on chat. I want to take a quick moment to check in with ourselves. Okay, it's December, but let's be real too. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is completely calm and 10 is extremely stressed, how would you rate your current stress level? And type your number in the chat box. Meanwhile, my dog's like stretching. He's not stressed at all. Okay, good. So we've got a really good normal range. Absolutely. And because life is always, like we said, these waves, we're all going to be experiencing these normalized numbers from now and then. Thank you for sharing so openly. Great. Thank you for sharing so openly. Because this is important to recognize where we are right now and that it's completely okay to be there right now. Completely okay. These are such valid responses because our stress fluctuates for everybody. Good. Okay, so this is my most beautiful sentence that came to me during a meditation. The wellness you seek comes down to your self-care and self-love. It is so spot on. I couldn't even have made that up. The wellness you seek comes down to your self-care and self-love. However, also, we want to heal those historical stuff, maybe some deep wounds, old traumas, and patterns blocking our path to bliss. I still get these little thumbs ups on the, I don't know how they happen on Zoom, but how about that was perfect timing. Healing deep wounds, old traumas. I know we don't like to think about them or talk about them, and old patterns, but they are still kind of there, like these old trolls hanging in the background of that software that still get in the way of being that cosmic billionaire all the time. So now we come into part 2. How do we do that? How do we shift these imbalances? How do we shift our patterns? How do we shift our habits? And how do we keep it, right? How do we sustain it? Again, just remember, it's a marathon, not a race. And the first step is to start thinking about self-care, even that term. Were any of us raised that way? Me, not me. That was never talked about growing up. In fact, it was worry about everybody else first and what everybody else thought about you and what the neighbors thought. Then my emotional health or mental health. And that's probably, growing up in the 60s. That was the consciousness then of our parents. And it's okay. Everybody was doing the best they were doing with the state of consciousness they were in. So first start thinking about self-care. And there is a lot of books on this out there, but I like the Cheryl Richardson's book about the extreme art of self-care, if you have never heard of that one. Cheryl Richardson, The Extreme Art of Self-Care, is a great book. So if we want to make big transformations, it starts with small steps. Okay, so let's look at many of the small steps. A little consistent action, like take a deep breath when you're stressed. I was talking about with somebody yesterday, start setting boundaries. Anything, anywhere, any place, any person, that's self-care. Not to feel guilty about it. That's taking care of yourself, having boundaries. Choosing kind words for yourself. Notice your languaging. How do you talk about yourself? Mostly in your head. Choosing kind words. These are the small things that create a foundation of self-care and self-love. When I've been coaching, it's not about grand gestures or big things. And Sherry will explain to that, all the little light bulb moments she's had along the way. It's about showing up for yourself in a small way each day, in meaningful ways. Put your oxygen mask on first. We've heard this 100 times. Well, why aren't we finally doing it? We really need to. We're the only one playing the part in our life right now, in our journey, that we're the main character. So put yourself first. And over time, these small choices compound into a life that feels more balanced, joyful, and aligned with who you truly are. And it's okay if you're changing these dance steps of the way you used to be. Sometimes people won't like that. When you start to change the old person, that means it's good, it's working. Okay? Like when I started meditating, I was probably 10 years into my yoga journey. So my kids hadn't seen me meditate and they were still living at home. So I said, well, this is what I'm doing now. I'm adding this to my life. And I put a sign on the door of our office at the time, and I would meditate in there, close the door, and it said, I'll be back in 20 minutes. And I was teaching them, this is my new boundary. This is a new thing that I'm doing. I'm going to be a better mother, I promise, because of this, and so on. So that was the way to get them used to that. But it was a new dance step. I wasn't as available as I always was. So I'd hear this pitter patter up to the door, and then I'd hear, but they wouldn't knock, and they would go away. So again, changing the dance steps takes a little time with your loved ones, family, friends, setting boundaries, all okay. It means it's good, it's working. So start small, think of all these things, stay consistent, and most importantly, love yourself deeply. Now, every time I've worked with people over the years, the most important role I've had is I'm going to love you so much until you love yourself. And somebody did that for me. And it was unbelievable. And when they even said that to me, I'm like, what does that mean? That I had to think it like that? What does that mean? I even wanted to go around and interview people. What is self-love? Like, how do you describe that? Are you doing that? You know, it wasn't something that was taught. So when we begin to start looking at these habits and making tiny changes, thinking about all that we've talked about so far, this will bring us the bliss that we're seeking. You're going to see changes just even in your energy, and your smile comes back in your face, and your ojas we talk about in Ayurveda. Ojas, O-J-A-S. Just listen to the word. It's like, it's unctuous, it's gushy, it's you're thriving, you're moisturized from the inside out. You're fulfilled. When you see somebody that has ojas, we say in Ayurveda, the science of life, this very powerful health balancing path to follow, we see such light in their eyes and juiciness in their skin. They don't look exhausted or gray or tired or sallow. That's how I'm trying to describe ojas. Makes sense? It's exuding from the inside out. So the first step you have to know to begin these little shifts is you're worth it. And I'm telling you, that L'Oreal commercial from so long ago was the best tagline. It's true. And learning that you're worth it takes a little time, maybe a little healing in the third chakra, self-love, self-worth, self-esteem. But that's one of the first steps to changing and reclaiming your bliss. Also, learning to meditate is a super big foundation because it does the deep cleaning for you. It's like calling Molly Maid. Come in and clean out the shit. It is. It is more powerful than yoga. Yoga works on many levels, absolutely. But I would say meditation is the big kahuna. If you're really ready to till the soil and pull the weeds and clean it out. It's the container for the transformation. Okay. I want, though, for us to share right now, get comfortable seated, of just a few minutes of some breath work to feel this little habit of how it can transform your nervous system. Okay, so it's really simple. You're going to sit comfortably. Your hands can just be in your lap. And this will be the pattern in a few moments. You're going to close your eyes and you're going to inhale through your nose to the count of 4. I'll take you through it. I want you to try and sustain the breath, hold it for about 8 counts. And then you're going to slowly exhale it out for 8 counts. So it's 4 counts for the inhale, 8 counts to hold it, 8 counts to slowly let it exhale out, all through the nose. Really simple. Okay, so close your eyes. I'm going to talk you through it. Let's begin inhaling through the nose. 4, 3, 2, 1, and now hold it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin exhaling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2. Not so huge. 1. Hold it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin exhaling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you take over. A few more rounds. You can always adjust if it feels like it's too long of a hold. No problem, you adjust. You're doing great. Allow yourself to focus on the breath, on the counting. Feel the nervous system settling. Here you are. Do one more round. When you're complete, just keep your eyes closed, natural, normal breathing. Just enjoy maybe a little bit of bliss, a little more calmness. Good, and then just gently open your eyes. Well, that didn't take much. So yummy. Hopefully you feel just a little more inward. We call that pratyahara in the stages of yoga, where the senses start to come a little more inward. Again, not so of the world, right? Not so bothered by everything. Become more inward, more focused, more quiet, to that quiet space within. Thank you for doing that with me. So that didn't take long at all. Other little habits we might think about for self-care. How about going to bed early enough? Loving yourself early, that you would put yourself to bed early enough. For 8 hours of deep rest. Turn off your electronics. I know it's hard, but it's recommended 2 hours before bed because all that light stimulation is very disturbing to your nervous system. And then you're trying to go to sleep. Start cooking for yourself more. Because the love that you're putting into your food, the energy, sometimes we turn on mantras when we cook, you're going to ingest that ojas back into you. So cooking for yourself is a really important sadhana or a practice. We don't know if the person was angry that was cooking our food at the takeout. Do you want to eat it? Not if you knew they were angry. So more home cooking if you can is self-care. How about some of you that can't say no? Stop saying yes all the time. That might be something that's good new boundary for you. How about a bubble bath? I mean, there's endless little self-cares. You could come up with ones that are better for you. Or making the time to meditate every day because you know you're worth it. I'm going to catch you on that one. You're worth it. So taking the next step, like beyond that, with maybe accountability is having somebody that's on you, like to help you stay with this new routine. So that's where coaching really helps. Going to a yoga class really helps. I can't tell you how many times I walked by a student's mat and all of a sudden the posture got like more alive and, or, you know, they all of a sudden they started doing all the little parts of the posture because I just walked by. I wasn't even, you know, helping them with the posture. So we know when someone else is keeping an eye on us, we're more engaged and more accountable. And then together we can really make success happen. Like, let's keep our bliss. Let's stop giving it away. And I have to quote, you know, this quote. It's the best one, Albert Einstein. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Yeah. How's the bliss going to come if you're doing the same stuff over and over and you know what your stuff is? Okay. So let's hear this again. The wellness you seek all comes down to your self-care and self-love. Because if you don't put your oxygen mask on first every day, then you can't expect the bliss you want to own. Okay. Well, I want to invite Sherry in just to share whatever comes from her heart about how she came to like take this commit to bliss with me. And she's a good friend to trust me. 90 days she committed to. That's big. I now offer 30 or 60 or 90, but and then her whole experience, just anything you want to share, Sherry. Thanks for joining us.
Sure. Hi, ladies. So whenever Catherine first, I first read about the program, I was like, 90 days, that's a long time. It's a big commitment to every week. It was 12 weeks, 12 Saturdays. And, like all of us, pretty much, it's like, I just don't have time. I can't fit this into my schedule. But whenever I looked at all the list of things that I would benefit from taking the class, I kept going back and saying, I really should do this. And I talked to Catherine about it over and over again. And so finally I just said, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And the nice thing about it was that because she records them all, it was like there was no pressure ever that you had to be there. And so I did miss 2 classes out of the 12 weeks, but it was very easy to catch up and stay in tune with everything through the recordings because everything's, just really complete. And so I had never meditated before either. So on the other side of it too, besides not having the time, was a little bit of stress of saying, I don't even know if I can do this. And then I did for the first time, I meditated with Catherine one-on-one because I'm fortunate that she lives near me for now. But so we were able to do it together. And I'll say that there was like really nothing to, I mean, I felt right into it. It was very blissful. I mean, honestly, it was just, this came so easy. And then it got to the point where like, you know, she teaches you to do it twice a day. And it got to the point where it was like, I was craving to do it. Come the afternoon, it was like, oh my gosh, especially if I had a lot of things going on throughout the day, I would do it first thing in the morning and then mid-afternoon. And I would get to the point where I was like, I have to do this because I need to just unload all of this crap from today, And the first thing, even from just the very first one that I did, first thing I noticed was I slept so much sounder. I mean, I don't have a lot of trouble sleeping, but you wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and your mind starts going. And but even now, when I wake up to go to the bathroom, I come back And even if my mind starts to go a little bit, I can very easily, I'm just so much calmer. And like that was really the first thing that I noticed was that calmness, and I'm able to just get a lot deeper sleep. Like when I wake up in the morning, it's just like, wow, that was like a great night's sleep. And so there was that. And then I really was very critical of myself, had really not much self-love. And just through through the course, it's almost like it came to me without even me realizing it. It came to where I didn't want to eat the junk food that I used to eat. It just doesn't, like, things just don't appeal to me. And so just all of those things, like, and I look at myself in the mirror completely different than what I used to. Um, I mean, there's still days, of course, but whenever I, nitpick at little things, but it was just like Catherine said, we just never were taught to do that. Like everything had to be perfect, and we're never going to be perfect. But so I just look at myself completely different, and there's just so many tools. There's so much more to the meditation than what I ever realized. Where, like I said, it comes to the self-care, the self-love. Um, there's these mantras that it's a whole new genre of music for me that I have fallen in love with. And um, I was traveling back a couple months ago, and there were some things going on, and I couldn't fall asleep. And I just put the mantras on, and it just like lulled me to sleep, a couple nights in a row. And now I find myself, I put them on when I'm cooking, just when I'm, you know, just sitting around the house. I just love to listen to them. Um, so it's just been um, very transformative for me, something I've never really experienced. And and so basically, I guess if you're, think that it's you don't have the time for it, trust me, you will want to make the time for it. That's, to meditate every day. That's just kind of where I've gotten. Um, and it's just been so like I said, transformative for me. Um, my patience level is completely different. I don't I've learned to kind of like take a minute before I respond. And so it has helped with just even the stress of thinking about, you know, different things, and then afterwards I'm not upset that I maybe um what do I want to say, blurted out something to somebody, like mainly my husband, I have a 91-year-old father that I take care of somewhat. And so it's given me a different outlook on the patience that I need to deal with him. And then one more thing is like spiritually, it has really opened up during my meditations, like the one thing that really stands out to me, and I don't know if you said this today, Catherine, but um, she has taught us that for me to meditate, it goes back, it affects 7 generations before me and 7 generations ahead of me. And I never really, like fully understand how that can happen. But now when I meditate spiritually, I have so many people that I have interacted with from so many generations back. And so that is like just, I love that. I love that. Um, and even just like through prayer, I have such a closer relationship with God. I mean, I've always been Christian, but um, it's just a different type of relationship now that I feel. So, Catherine's a wonderful teacher, wonderful coach. She's always there for you. every day. There, she comes every day with something to help to keep you motivated and moving forward and opening my eyes to so many more things. So
Thanks, Sherry.
you're
Oh,
welcome.
I was getting chills. Oh my gosh,
Well,
thank you. It's
it's
been
been,
fun
it's
to
been
witness the changes too, like in Sherry or other people in the group. Like,
yeah. Well, and
we
that's the
started
other thing.
September 14th. It's like amazing.
It's crazy that it's like 90 days already. And
Yeah.
like Catherine said earlier too, it's so nice to do it with other people, because now we have this community and we just all experience things together, new things. And I'm sure I mean, I know I'm forgetting a lot of changes and things that I have experienced too, but those are the ones that stick out the most.
That sounds pretty good to me. That's a lot of shifts. And
It was a lot.
Sherry called me. She says she was very afraid of stepping in. Just like I can't do this, or I don't know if I can do that, right? Everybody has
Yes.
a lot of that. And I want to just say, I am not a strict taskmaster when I teach somebody to meditate that you must do it every day, twice a day. That's not realistic. That's not life. So every day is different. And the key is that if you're meditating just pretty regularly in general, you're going to have big shifts, big shifts. And I want you to look at it as that marathon thing. Oh, well, I'm going to be meditating the rest of my life, so missing a day isn't going to kill me, right? So we don't want you stressing about meditating. That would be an oxymoron, just not how it works. So I
Yeah, the
always
other
like
thing,
to go
well, I was
ahead.
just gonna say, just to say that like you don't, like she gives every week, it's like, okay, here's podcasts to listen to, here's some music to listen to. She never comes back and say, well, did you listen to that? What did
Yeah,
so she doesn't, it's not like, if maybe I don't have time to listen to it this week, so I'm gonna get to it next week. So I never feel that pressure. Oh no, I didn't get my
right,
assignment done, that kind of thing. So
right.
no, she's not nothing like
Thank
that.
you. Well, this is adult learning school, and you just do it at your pace. And the other thing is, what I love is that you're going to always have these podcasts, these musics, everything I share with you forever. So I want you to re-listen to them, play them again, do the chakra balancing in bed at night, etc. There's so many nice little tools I share. Thank you, Sherry. Really appreciate that.
Welcome.
So let's do one more now. Rate our stress level now. So take a moment, close your eyes, and then when you can, in the chat box, type your number. Let's just check it again, take our temperature. Looks like it's getting a little better. Well, there's nothing like joining together, having a time off from the world for an hour, chatting, seeing each other, even on Zoom. It's still very palpable. I mean, vibration travels, so there is no time and space. So we're all connected very much here, even though we're in our different homes. Thank you for that. So step 3 is to prioritize self-care. And that's what I want to really leave you with today, is to journal on that. Think of that term. Really mull over it the next few weeks, especially now. I've been sending my current group every day something for December to help us through this crazier time of the year. This is not the time when you stop doing your self-care. I used to tell everybody, this is not the time you stop showing up for yoga class. You need it now more than ever. So if you think you're too busy for it, you really need to be doing it. So whatever that self-care, small little baby steps to shift and change. I remember Sherry shared with me that one of the first things she stopped doing when she started the program was she doesn't look at her cell phone right away when she gets up. She meditates or plays a mantra or journals. So because that immediately going to our cell phone is such an easy habit, and that really can make us anxious right away. It's crazy. And then we go into doom scrolling on social media and we're gone, you know? So as you think about prioritizing your self-care now, look at all those kind of little things. Where could I do it? Like going to bed earlier, massaging your feet with oil to calm the nervous system, put socks on them, go to bed. Give yourself a little love. Where can you have love bombs for yourself throughout the day? Every day. It again, it doesn't have to be some grand gesture or grand overture like you made a massage appointment. That's not going to be every day. But where can you do it in small little baby steps? It's the place to start looking. Does anybody have any questions before I wrap things up? Did you take any notes or any questions you might have for me now? But I'm not going away. I'm always available if you ever want to reach out and have a free talk, consultation. I'll be following up with an email, sending you this recording and some more things to think about. But if you had anything right now. Yes, Carmen.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you for this little session. I mean, I followed you from Karma Yoga here in Detroit or in Bloomfield Hills Township, whatever, and kind of followed you all around. I've been consistently inconsistent, if you will. And as you noted, it's common that people fall off the bandwagon. Well, I certainly have because life happens, and taking care of my mother's 89 and things just happen, and so I just
Of course.
had a hard time getting back into it. But when I saw your email a couple of days ago, the one where I had the guys doing soccer, running and keeping themselves healthy, it made me think, my husband is inspirational to me. He's very disciplined. I am not. I kind of come and go. But I thought to myself, I really need to, and I hadn't really termed it self-love, self-care. So I really appreciate that. And I love the perspective that you have on a number of these things. I do have a spiritual practice that I'm with a group out of Montecito, Tidra Hayde. But my physical side, and there's other sides that I am certainly absent of. And Sherry, I want to thank you for sharing because a lot of the things you said I could resonate with. So thank you. And anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, Catherine, because you hit on some things that I think the self-care is one that I have practiced, but probably not to the level I need to. So thank you.
Thanks, Carmen. Thanks, Elizabeth. Oh, that's really wonderful to hear. I know because it's very obtuse and nebulous for especially our generation. We weren't really taught that. And it's really good to think of it in all different ways. Many clients have said to me, God, I never thought of it that way. That's self-care. Oh, that's self-care. You know, you were looking at how self-care shows up in so many different ways.
I just want
Pam,
to
oh yeah, go
I
ahead.
just want to say one thing, my parents well, my mother was a principal and my father was a director of a social service agency for the Catholic diocese, and just constantly growing up taking care of other people. But I don't remember them outside of their spiritual practice. I mean, because they were very religious, both my parents, but outside of that, physically, and the rest of the whole thing was absent. So once
Yep.
again, thank you. Sorry, I'll be quiet.
Yep. No, my family too. I had to learn it all in my 40s through some pain and trial. Pam, I see your question. The meditating 7 generations, if I heard this correctly. So it's well documented that one who meditates heals 7 generations that came before and can then heal 7 generations yet to come. And this happens through vibrational healing of traumas, patterns, dysfunctions. Basically, the one who's meditating in the family is saying the buck stops here. I'm going to clear these out. They're going to change. They're going to go away. They're going to heal, and I'm not passing them on. And so as you change and heal, that's what changes the generations to continue. And it does rub off. My kids are so different since I started meditating. I saw it. I see how they grew up differently, how they changed, and so on. If you're the one meditating, it happens just that way through vibrational shifting. Pretty cool. I'm going to see if I can find more articles written on that. So I'm going to go over just a couple minutes because I want to read something to you, like a little prayer. And so I want you to put your hands on your heart and close your eyes. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this thought. The journey to reclaiming your bliss begins with a simple step. And that step is saying yes to yourself. You have already taken a powerful step by showing up today, by making time to invest in your well-being, and by opening yourself up to new possibilities. And you should be proud of that. But here's the truth. Transformation happens when you pair knowledge with action. You deserve a life where stress no longer holds you back, where balance feels natural, and where joy is a daily experience. Imagine waking up each day feeling lighter, more confident, and deeply aligned with the life you want. Because this is not a dream, it's within your reach. So I invite you to take this energy today, this inspiration, and turn it into action, however you do that. Whether it's committing to one of the tools we talked about or prioritizing time now for your self-care or taking the next step with support, the key is just move forward. I am here for you every step of the way. You don't have to do this alone if you choose not to. And I will be your cheerleader for you in a path that's ready to guide you. Thank you for being here today, for showing up for yourself, and for taking this step toward your bliss. However you do it, I can't wait to see the incredible things that you allow yourself to do. You can open your eyes. I'm so happy to see you. Thanks for showing up, Sherry, and sharing yours. And I don't know if some of you other Michiganders know, but I have good news. I'm moving back to Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
That's
we're coming
fantastic.
back. Yeah, so get a little, because Sherry's not happy.
I wasn't sure when she made her comment if she was moving or you were.
We're moving back. It should be happening within a month or so, it looks like. So I'll keep you in touch of where I am and what I'm doing locally.
Excellent. Excellent.
And it'll be so great to see
Well, we
you
welcome
all.
you back.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for coming today. I really appreciate it.
All right, bye.
More bliss. Take it
Bye.
back. It's yours.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.